The Galactic War Room was silent. 12 alien leaders sat around a giant black table. No one blinked. No one spoke. They had just watched the same thing, the same short video. A single human female had survived an attack meant to destroy an entire race. She should be dead, hissed Commander Veltor of the Galaxian Empire. She is human, weak, small, alone, said another. We sent fire from the sky. What more do you need? A new image appeared on the screen. A cracked battlefield, burning soil, craters, and in the middle of it, she stood alive. No armor, no weapons, just standing, calm. They called her Sarah. Veiled. No rank, no family, no known power. But for some reason she had survived every wave they had sent. Plasma bombs, biostorms, assassins, even mind leeches. Still she lived. She's just one, said a cold voice at the end of the table. It was the voice of High Leader Igroth, ruler of 7 systems. And that is why she must die. Publicly. The lights dimmed. He raised one long bony finger. Bring the apex beast. Across the stars, the apex beast was not from any known planet. It had no home. It had no master. It was found drifting near a black hole, half-starved, with the bones of a warship in its jaws. No one controlled it. But one species spoke to it. The shadow callers of the outer moons. In the dark of space, they gathered around the beast. 20 feet tall. Muscles like armor. A face that looked like it had been carved by nightmares. Its eyes glowed with no light behind them. The hunt is given, said the caller. It growled. A single image was shown to it. Sarah Vale. Planet B6T9, the broken world. That's where Sarah was now. An old mining planet, left behind after Earth surrendered the region. Desert wind blew across sharp rocks and glass sand. Nothing lived here anymore. Not even bugs. She sat on a hill, next to a burned-out cargo crate. Her boots were dusty. Her hands were calm. She looked up at the stars. She knew. She had felt it 3 hours ago. Something was coming, not a ship, not a bomb. Something alive. On the moon of Vascara, a group of alien scientists watched the live feed. Their cameras followed the beast as it entered orbit. Its body burned slightly from re-entry. It didn't need a ship. It fell. And when it landed, the whole ground shook. Trees didn't just fall, they exploded. Sand turned to glass, and yet Sarah didn't move. She's still sitting, said one scientist. Foolish, said another. She doesn't know what we sent. But they were wrong. She knew. Memories of Earth. Sarah closed her eyes. She was 10 when she first saw the apex beast on a secret Earth database. No one believed the beast was real, only a myth made by soldiers to scare each other. But her father had believed it. He had said, if you ever see it, don't run. Don't fight. Just listen. Sarah was trained in more than just survival. She was trained in an art that no longer had a name. She was taught to read wind, understand shadow, feel vibration under her skin. Words were weapons. Stillness was power. The beast walks. The apex beast sniffed the air. It smelled ash, rust, and her. It walked like thunder. Each step shattered rock. Its claws dug trenches in the ground. Its mouth dripped with black acid. The feed showed it getting closer. 20 meters. 10. Sarah finally stood. Slowly. She dusted her pants. No fear, no anger, just focus. The beast growled. The sound broke 2 satellites above. Sarah tilted her head slightly, like she was listening to music far away. Then she did something strange. She smiled. Alien command room. She's smiling? Shouted one commander. Is this a trick? No, whispered Igroth. This is human pride. Let it end her. The first move, the apex beast lowered its head. It charged. Every step crushed the world beneath it. The sound of its roar shattered nearby cliffs. It jumped, claws out, fangs wide. Sarah didn't move. Her lips moved. A whisper, soft, unknown. The beast froze in midair only for a second. But that second changed everything. It hit the ground next to her, not on her. It skidded, growled. Confused. She had not dodged. She had simply stood there. The whisper. Sarah looked at the beast's face. It looked angry. But behind that rage, there was something else. Fear? No, not yet. But close. She said one word. A word the aliens couldn't translate. Not even the feed AI could recognize it. But the beast understood. Its ears went flat. It stepped back. The cameras shook. She spoke a command, said one scientist. But how? That's impossible. Igroth leaned forward. Find out how she knows its name. The eyes of the galaxy people across the galaxy were watching the stream now. Millions, then billions. Some laughed at the human. Others waited to see her get ripped apart. But something had changed. The beast had stopped. It circled her, sniffed the ground. It was no longer hunting. It was measuring her. Sarah walked forward. Just one step. The beast growled again, but this time the sound was uncertain. The unseen weapon. Sarah took a deep breath, not for strength, but for control. She remembered her training. Power is not in the hand, her father had said. It is in the silence between breaths. She stared at the apex beast. Her face was calm. The beast saw something. Something it had never seen before in any prey. Not rage, not fear, but truth. She knew it. She had seen it before, and that broke the beast's confidence. A planet holds its breath. The alien leaders watched. No one spoke. Even the feed had gone quiet, like the cameras didn't want to make a sound. The beast made one final move. It charged again, but this time, not with full speed. It was testing her. Sarah whispered again. No scream. No shout, just a whisper. Beast stopped mid-run. Its claws dug into the earth. It roared in frustration. It didn't know why it couldn't finish the kill. It couldn't think clearly. It saw images, things from before it was born. Sarah was showing it something. A memory not its own. And then silence. Sarah sat down again, just like before. The beast stood. Its chest rose and fell. Its eyes blinked slowly. It stepped back. Then another step. Then it turned. The final command from the sky. A beam of blue light appeared. A signal from the command ship above. A final command. Finish it. The apex beast turned back toward Sarah. Sarah stood again, and this time, she ran toward it. The apex beast stood still. Dust covered its skin. Its muscles moved with heavy breaths. It had never stopped like this before. Not in any other hunt. Not for any other prey. And yet, here it was frozen, just a few meters from the human female. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She just looked up at the creature and waited. From above in orbit, the alien fleet watched every second. What is happening? Growled Commander Veltor. She should be dead, said a voice from the screen. Why is it not attacking? Asked another. The apex beast had landed with power, with fury, but now it stood still. The human had no weapons, no armor. She was completely open, but her body was relaxed. No fear in her eyes. No sign of panic. She knows something, whispered High Leader Igroth. She was waiting for this. Back on the ground, the air was quiet. Even the wind had stopped. Sarah stood like a statue, her breathing calm, her hands by her side, her boots rooted in cracked soil. The apex beast circled her. Its black eyes stared deep into her soul. But Sarah didn't flinch. She blinked slowly, like time didn't matter. She raised one hand and brushed dust from her sleeve. No rush, no emotion. The beast's claws dragged across the rock. Sparks flew. Its growl shook the ground, but Sarah didn't even blink. Inside the beast's mind, the apex beast didn't understand that it was a creature of instinct. But it wasn't dumb. It could read fear in all living things. This one had none. It sniffed the air again. No scent of panic. Her heartbeat too slow, too steady. Not natural. She had to be broken inside. But the more it looked, the more it felt. Uneasy, like she was reading it. The whisper. Then Sarah did something strange. She opened her mouth and whispered. Just one word. The cameras couldn't pick up the sound. But the beast heard it. Its body jerked. Like something stabbed it. It took a step. Back. In the Galactic Council, she spoke again. Shouted a technician. Zoom in. It's a command, or a signal. No, said Igroth, standing slowly. It's a memory. What? She's using something old. Something older. Than war. She's reaching into its mind. But how? Igroth stared at the screen. That woman was trained by ghosts. Flashback. Earth, years ago. Sarah sat in a dark room. A small fire burned at the center. Around her, 5 old humans sat. None of them spoke. Her father was one of them. He leaned close and whispered, "You cannot beat the beast with force. You must make it forget how to be a predator." Sarah was trained not to fight, but to undo. She learned ancient tones, forgotten patterns, heart rhythms, mind-quieting stares. She was not made for war. She was made to end it. The beast tests her. The apex beast opened its jaws. Black steam hissed out. It roared again, this time louder. A sound so deep, it cracked mountains. Nearby. Birds flew from the sky. Metal bent in nearby wreckage. But Sarah didn't cover her ears. She didn't move back. She closed her eyes and breathed in. 1, 2, 3. Slow steps forward. The beast blinked. No prey had ever done that. She spoke again. Gordok. She whispered. It wasn't English. It wasn't any Earth language. But the beast knew the word. It was the name of its first cage. A sound locked deep in its bones. The moment she said it, the beast's muscles tightened. Its tail whipped back violently. It screamed. But this time in pain. It backed away again. Panic in the command ship. Where did she learn that name? Shouted Veltor. That name was buried. No human has access to the vault of beasts. But Igroth was silent. His hands trembled slightly. She's using the old commands, he whispered. Only one group knew those. Who? Igroth stared at the screen. Earth's last silent force. The speakers of the void. We thought they were extinct. Sarah opens her eyes. She looked at the apex beast with no hate. She whispered again. Drop it. The beast dropped to its front knees, not because of power, because of confusion. Its mind showed it images, earth forests, fires, memories it had never lived. Sarah's voice reached into its instincts. It didn't understand, but it felt like it had met her before, like she belonged to something older than stars. The observers watch in silence across galaxies. Millions watched the stream. Some laughed at the aliens. Some cried out in wonder. No one had ever made the apex beast fall without touching it. No weapon. No tech. Just presence. Sarah stood only a few feet away now. The beast lowered its head. Just a little. Then it looked into her eyes. The language of power. She raised her hand slowly. Not to hit. Not to scare. She placed her palm on its face. The beast shook. Its breath was hot and sour. But Sarah didn't move. She spoke again. This is not your fault. Tears rolled down one technician's face as he watched the feed. I didn't know monsters could feel. The order is given again. High above. Igroth snapped. Activate control beacon. Force it to kill. A signal blasted from the fleet to the beast's mind. Pain surged through its brain. The beast roared and stood. Its eyes turned red again. The old control returned. It raised its claw. Sarah stepped back. Just once. But she didn't run. She whispered one final word. Break. The beast stopped mid-swing. Its head turned sharply. Its eyes went wide. It remembered something. A moment. A smell. Feeling of peace. It roared, not in rage, but against the control. The claws swung wide, missing her completely. It stumbled back. Shaking. It was fighting the command. Something breaks, then something snapped out the control link that the alien beacon shorted. Sparks flew inside the command ship. The signal failed. Impossible. It resisted us. But Igroff knew. She's not killing the beast, he said. She's turning it. She walks away. Zara turned around. She didn't need to fight anymore. She had done what others couldn't. She made the beast remember what it once was. The apex beast stood still. It didn't chase her. It bowed its head. And then it let out a low sound, not a growl, not a roar, but a hum, like a song. Final Senna walked over a ridge. Behind her, the apex beast sat silent. And for the first time since it was born, it did not want to kill. The galaxy was speechless. One human, one beast, no weapons, no blood, but the most powerful message yet. The desert of planet B69 was quiet again. No screams, no roars, just wind blowing across broken metal and cracked rocks. Sarah Vale walked alone. Her boots kicked up dust, but her steps were light, like she carried no weight. Behind her, the apex beast remained still. It sat like a guard, like a statue made of pain and memory. It did not chase. It did not kill. The command ship in chaos inside. The command ship floating in orbit. Alarms echoed. Reboot the control signal. It's resisting override. Impossible. No creature can break free from the beacon link. But the apex beast had done exactly that. Its body had jerked, roared, and broken the connection. The moment Sarah whispered that last word, something inside it changed. High Leader Igroth stood silently, his hands behind his back. Tell me, he said coldly, what happens when the galaxy sees that our perfect weapon can be tamed? A signal across space, across systems, across moons and cities. Billions had watched the broadcast. At first, they expected blood, but what they saw instead was transformation. The apex beast, feared by entire worlds, had bowed its head to one human. It didn't die. It didn't attack. It simply sat and watched her go. The image became the most replayed footage in the galaxy in less than 4 minutes. Hashtags appeared. Hashtag #SheDidn, single quotes T-Run, #Human Whisperer, #Beastbreaker. Some laughed. Others began to fear what else humans were hiding. Back on the planet, Sarah reached the edge of an old mining station. The buildings were dead, no power, no life, just twisted iron and dust. She sat on a metal beam and opened a small bag. Inside was dried bread, a steel flask, and a single cracked photo. Her and her father standing in front of a mountain back on Earth. She smiled softly. You were right, she whispered. Suddenly, the ground behind her shook. She didn't turn around. She already knew what was coming. The apex beast had followed her, a monster, at peace. It didn't roar. It didn't stomp. It simply sat down 5 meters away and stared. It had never done this before. No hunter in the galaxy had survived past 5 minutes once the apex beast locked on, but this one had. This human female had not just survived, she had changed it. Sarah turned her head slowly and looked at the creature. Are you here to kill me? She asked calmly, or just to learn? The beast blinked. It didn't speak, of course not, but its silence spoke, louder than any roar. Deep in the beast's memory, it saw images. Not its own memories, but Sarah's. The sound of her voice had triggered something ancient. Not just in its mind, but in its blood. It remembered. Cages. Whips. A voice from the past saying, obey. But Sarah had said something else. She had said, you were more than this. The beast didn't understand love or words, but it understood tone. It understood peace. Meanwhile, on the moon of Vorthik, General Scalax threw a steel table across the room. You fool sent a creature that now follows a human. They saw her touch it like a pet. Our enemies will laugh at us. But one scientist, old and quiet, said something that made the room freeze. She didn't tame it, he whispered. She freed it. Everyone turned. She used a word that wasn't in our control script. A word we thought had been lost. And what does that mean? Igroth asked. The scientist looked up, his voice dry with fear. It means the human wasn't the one in danger. We are. The roar back on B-69. The apex beast stood. Its chest rose high. Its head tilted toward the sky. Then it let out a sound, a deep, ancient roar that rolled through the entire planet. But this roar was not a war cry. It was a call. Low. Powerful. Sad. Every moon in the system heard it. Every animal froze. Some alien ships picked it up through their sound sensors and shut down from overload. People on nearby planets stared into the sky, covering their ears. What was that? They asked. Sarah stood beside it now. She looked into the sky, her eyes calm. They heard you, she whispered to the beast. They know you are awake. The awakening in a dark system on the edge of known space. Something ancient stirred. Buried under miles of ice. Another creature opened its eyes. It had not moved in 600 years. Until now. The sound of the apex beast's roar had reached it. Elsewhere. In a jungle world, a hidden species of silent giants raised their heads. Something was happening, something big. The fear of control in the command fleet. Panic spread like fire. If more apex beasts wake up, they will remember. They will break free. Igroth stared at the video of Sarah. We made them, he said coldly. But we forgot they could feel. He slammed his hand down. Send the hunters, now. Sarah gets a warning. A message buzzed through Sarah's old wristband. A human voice, soft, male. Sarah, it's Dren from the Resistance. We just saw what you did. But you're not safe. They're sending elite hunters now, 7 of them. She smiled faintly. 7. Yeah, trained killers, hybrid blood. No fear. She looked at the apex beast beside her. I hope they bring more. Dren paused. Are you saying you'll fight them? Sarah's voice was calm. No, I'll let the beast choose. The hunter ships approached. 7 dark ships entered orbit. Fast. Deadly. No signals. No warnings. They were trained not to speak, just to kill. Inside each one was a warrior genetically designed to beat any enemy. Each had beaten entire armies. None had ever failed, but none had ever fought someone like her. Ensign Sarah looked toward the stars. The apex beast stood next to her. Waiting. Watching. She knew the hunters were coming, but she also knew something else. They had already lost the moment they believed she was just human. The sky turned dark. As 7 black hunter ships broke through the clouds above planet B-69. Each one was small, fast and silent. They flew in perfect formation, like a single mind controlled them all. Inside, those ships were 7 killers, the best the galaxy had. Were not born. They were made to hunt humans, made to kill quickly. No mercy, no mistakes, but this time. Their target was different. Sarah stood still down on the ground. Sarah stood at the edge of the old mining station. The apex beast stood beside her silent. Still, watching the sky, Sarah didn't move, didn't prepare weapons, didn't set traps. She simply whispered, "Let them come." The wind picked up, pushing her hair back. She smiled. Inside the lead hunter's mind, Hunter 1, the leader of the 7, reviewed her file. Name, Sarah Vale. Threat level, unknown. Weapon use, none. Victim count, 0. Danger rating, extreme. He grunted. She's just a human, he said. But she tamed the apex beast. His partner laughed. Then we kill both. But something deep inside him didn't feel right. He had fought thousands of enemies, but never felt. Watch. The drop. The 7 ships opened at once. 7 shadows dropped from the sky like dark comets. They landed in a perfect circle around SER. Dust exploded. The sound shook the ground. The apex beast growled low, but Sarah raised her hand slightly. It stopped. She turned slowly to face the first hunter, face-to-face hunter. One stepped forward. He was tall, armored, and his skin looked like silver stone. "You should run," he said. Sarah smiled. "I never run." He pulled out twin blades. Then you'll die fast. Sarah looked at the apex beast and whispered one word. Watch. Hunter 2 attacks. Hunter 2 vanished in a flash. He reappeared behind Sarah, his knife ready to strike. But she didn't. Moved. The moment the blade came close, slammed at the apex. Beast's tail whipped like lightning. It struck Hunter 2 midair and launched him into a wall of iron. His body fell silent. Dead. One. Down. The others spread out, split, and surround her. Barked. Hunter 1.3 moved left. 2 moved right. They tried to confuse the beast. But Sarah was the one watching them. Her eyes were calm, focused. Every step they took, she counted. Every breath. Every motion, she read them like books. Hunter 3 fires a sniper beam shot from the rocks above. Bright blue light screamed towards Sarah's head, but she didn't duck. The apex beast leapt. It landed between her and the blast. Its chest took the full hit. Smoke rose. Then the beast stood tall again. The sniper froze, then screamed. Because behind him, something moved. Not SERH. Not the beast. Something older. The second beast from the shadows of the mining station. A second creature stepped forward. Smaller than the apex beast, but with the same eyes. Same. Growled. Same pain. Sarah smiled. They're waking, she said. Hunter 4 tried to retreat, but the second beast didn't let him. A fight they couldn't win. One by one, the hunters fell, not because of power, but because of fear. They were never trained for. They had studied war. They had studied tactics, but they had never studied what made humans dangerous. Not weapons, not numbers, but their silence, their connection to what others forgot. Hunter 1 stands alone. The last hunter stood bleeding. He held one broken blade in his hand. Sarah walked toward him. No fear, no hate, just calm. He swung his weapon once. She moved left. He swung again. She moved right. Then she stepped close and said, softly, you don't belong here. The final whisper. The apex beast stepped beside her, its face inches from the hunter's. It sniffed once, then let out a soft rumble. The hunter dropped his blade, dropped to his knees. He didn't cry, didn't scream. He just whispered, what are you? Sarah looked up at the stars. I'm a reminder. The command fleet watches from orbit. The alien leaders watch the disaster. All 7 signals gone. All 7 hunters silent. Impossible, muttered Commander Veltor. No one survives a single hunter. High Leader Igroth stood quiet, his face pale. She's not fighting with weapons, he said. She's using truth. What do we do? Someone asked. Igroth turned away from the screen. We pray she doesn't climb higher. Across the galaxy, fear spreads on dozens of worlds. Whispers spread about the human woman. About the apex beast that followed her. About how the galaxy's best hunters were lost without a sound. Some began to doubt the council. Others began to hope. A new name spread. The Beast Caller. Sarah looks ahead. Sarah stood on a ridge. The apex beast beside her. The second beast behind. She looked over the valley. In the distance lights blinked. Ships arriving, but she didn't turn away. She whispered to the wind, let them come too. The stars over planet B69 had always burned bright, but tonight they seemed afraid. Ships no longer flew close. Frequencies were quiet. Even the satellites stayed silent, as if watching something they didn't want to interrupt. Sarah stood at the edge of a cliff. The apex beast beside her. A second beast rested nearby, its deep breathing soft like a sleeping child. But Sarah wasn't sleeping. She was waiting. And the galaxy was watching. The council's fear inside the Galactic Council Hall. Everything was still. No one shouted. No one dared raise their voice. A giant screen showed a paused image. Sarah Vale standing calmly as the 7 hunters lay broken behind her. The apex beast by her side. Another creature in the background. Igroff stood in front of the silent assembly. She must be stopped, he said coldly. before more beasts wake, before more humans follow. She did not attack, said a voice. From the shadows. That makes it worse, Igroth replied. She wins without war. That kind of power terrifies people. The message sent a council drone ship was sent, small, black, and shaped like a needle dot. It flew fast. No weapons. Just one job. Deliver a message. It landed 100 meters from SERAH. It beeped once. A screen appeared, showing the council ambassador in blue robes. Sarah Vale, you are ordered to surrender. You will be taken to the capital. Your beasts will be destroyed. You will answer for violating control protocols. Comply now, or we will burn the sky above you. Her reply. Silence. Sarah didn't move. She didn't blink. She didn't even look at the drone. The apex beast growled once. The second beast bared its teeth. The drone beeped again, repeating the message. Still no reply. Then Sarah finally whispered, not to the drone. To the beasts. Fly. The beasts move without hesitation. The apex beast turned and ran. The second followed. Together, they disappeared into the rocky canyons behind her. The drone's screen flashed red. This is resistance. You have made your choice. Sarah nodded slowly. I have. Then she walked away. The fire from above. An hour later, the sky lit up. The council's warning became real. 6 orbital beams struck the canyon. Sarah had just left. Mountains exploded. Rock turned to ash. Beasts, soldiers, humans all would have been wiped out. But when the fire faded. SERAH stood untouched on another ridge. She had never run. She had simply walked away faster than their fear could follow. The galaxy reacts news spread fast. She survived orbital strike. 2 beasts escaped. The council gave an order, and she ignored it. People on poor planets began painting her symbol on walls. A beast's eye and a flame. Merchants played clips of her standing still. Children mimicked her calm voice. Some laughed. Others whispered something dangerous. She doesn't want to fight. But if she does. We will follow. A new arrival 2 days later, as night returned. A ship unlike any other appeared. It was Earth-made. Black. Stealth-shaped, no lights, no flags. It hovered just above ground and opened slowly. A man stepped out. Not a soldier. Not a spy. Just a man with tired eyes and a human badge. He walked to Sarah with no fear. Sarah Vale, he said. I'm from Earth's Shadow Council. I have orders. She looked at him, and he smiled sadly. We're not here to stop you. The truth revealed. They sat by a fire. The apex beast returned. So did the second. They watched like wolves. Quiet but alert. The man, whose name was Wreath, spoke slowly. You weren't chosen by the beasts, were you? Sarah shook her head. No, I heard them. Hear them? They don't speak like us. They sing, cry, feel, and they remember pain. Wreath sighed. Council made them for war. Earth said nothing. But now people are listening to you more than governments. She didn't respond. Do you know what that means? He asked. Sarah looked up. It means they're scared. The stars go quiet that night. A strange thing happened. The galactic network used by millions of planets suddenly went silent. No news. No alerts. Just one message appeared on every screen. Every ship, every satellite. She heard them. And now they hear her. Then silence. People looked at each other, confused, some scared, some smiling. But one thing was clear. Something had changed forever. The third beast in a deep ocean on a jungle moon. Something rose. It had 4 legs, 2 glowing eyes, and scales. Black as space. It broke through the waves and let out a slow, shaking call. One word echoed in the currents. Sarah. Back on B6T9, Sarah opened her eyes suddenly. She heard it. She whispered, another one has awakened. The council prepares for war in the main chamber. Igroth was no longer calm. She's spreading influence like a virus. He shouted, She speaks with no army. Yet entire planets are painting her name. Another general spoke. Then what now? Igroth's eyes burned. We send something no one's seen in 1,000 years. What? He smiled. The original apex. Sarah waits. She stood in the valley again. The beasts circled her like guardians. Wreath. Prepared to leave. More are waking, he said. She nodded. I know. You won't run? Sarah's answer was simple. I don't run. I listen. Deep below the Galactic Council's capital, far from any map, there was a vault. No name. No entry logs, only one key, and one order. Never open it. But now, that order was broken. 6 guards stood, shaking as thick metal doors hissed open. Inside was a creature frozen in dark. Crystal, taller than buildings. Older than history. Stronger than any life form they'd ever known. The first apex, the Council's last weapon commander Igroth, stood in front of the frozen beast. He whispered, "You were never meant to be seen again. But she leaves us no choice." He pressed his hand to a control pad. The floor shook. Lights turned red. Alarms stayed silent. And then, the ice cracked. A single eye opened. Yellow, sharp. A galaxy of rage inside it. The first apex was awake. The beast that never obeyed. Even the Council feared it. Long ago. It destroyed 3 moons by accident. It didn't take orders. It didn't. No mercy. So they locked it away. But now they brought it back, and they dropped it on B6T9 with one order. Destroy the girl. Leave nothing standing. Sarah felt it before it landed. She stood in a canyon with the 2 awakened beasts. The wind stopped moving. Birds vanished into silence. Even the rocks felt cold. She touched the ground. It trembled under her hand. Wreath's voice came through her old radio. They dropped something. Big. Too big. Sarah already knew. It's not just big, she said softly. It's the first. The sky broke open. A shadow crossed the land. A Council dropship opened high above. Then the first apex fell. No parachute. No wings. Just wait. Boom. The ground split. Mountains cracked. Even the other 2 apex beasts stepped back. They had never smelled anything like this. They knew the scent, not of a leader, but of a monster. Face to face. The first apex stood up. Its back straightened. Its eyes scanned the horizon. It didn't roar. It didn't move fast. But every step felt like thunder. It looked at the 2 smaller apex beasts. They growled, but then bowed. Not in fear. In respect. Then it turned and looked straight at Sarah. Sarah didn't blink. She stood with her arms at her side. No weapon. No shield. Just her voice. Why did they send you? She asked. The first apex didn't answer, but its eyes studied her face. She stepped closer. Know what they did to you. I know how long you were frozen. Still, it said nothing, but something deep inside its chest shifted. Not anger, not hate, but memory. The memory it carried long ago. When the first apex was born, it was alone. No name. No home, just labs, cold lights. Endless tests. It was trained to kill, taught to obey. But one day, it looked at the stars and refused. It turned on its masters, destroyed 3 outposts. They trapped it in crystal, locked it under the Council's feet, and forgot its name. Until now. Now it saw a human who had done the same. The Council watches in terror. Satellites recorded everything. Council members watched screens, expecting fire, death, screams. But what they saw? The first apex walked toward Sarah. She didn't move. And then, the impossible happened. It knelt. One knee on the ground. Eyes lowered. The apex that never obeyed bowed to her. Panic in the hall. Turn off the stream. Igroth shouted, but it was too late. The entire galaxy had seen it. Billions of screens, billions of eyes. One, truth, the Council's worst weapon, had just joined her, and it hadn't even been forced. It chose. The third beast joins from across the planet. The water beast Sarah heard earlier arrived. It slithered from lakes. It howled at the moon. And when it reached the canyon, it didn't roar. At the first apex, it laid at Sarah's feet, like a loyal dog returning home. Now, 4 beasts stood by her. And yet Sarah still didn't attack. What she said, she stood on the canyon rock and looked toward the sky. She spoke into Reith's old radio. Her voice was calm, strong, unshaken. I don't want war, but I will not be silenced. I will not surrender. And I will not let them bury the truth. The beasts are not monsters. The real monsters are the ones who made them this way. Across the stars, movements begin on distant colonies. Soldiers lowered their weapons. On forgotten planets, rebels played her voice over broken speakers. One by one, small groups began to form. No flags, no uniforms, just one name on their lips: Sarah. They didn't call her a commander, not a queen, not a prophet. They called her the listener, because she didn't lead with orders. She led by hearing those who had been ignored. The council prepares their final act. Groth slammed his hand on the war table. If beasts bow to her, then we burn them all. One general spoke quietly. We tried. It didn't work. Another said, the people are watching. If we strike now, we lose more than power. We lose the galaxy. But Igroth's eyes had turned wild. Then we end her, no matter the cost. Sarah looks up one last time. The night was quiet again. Stars twinkled above. The beasts rested nearby. But Sarah didn't sleep. She stared at the stars. And for the first time, she looked afraid, because she knew what was coming. Not another beast, not a hunter, but the final weapon. One made to destroy everything, including her. Sarah sat by a fire made of dry stone wood. The 4 apex beasts, 2 beside her, 1 behind, 1 circling above in the clouds, slept like ancient wolves, but she couldn't. Something in the stars felt wrong. She looked up. Something is coming, she whispered. The council's final plan in a chamber beneath the council's central tower. Red lights glowed. 3 scientists stood over a giant tank. Inside it floated something half human, half metal. Its eyes were closed, but its body pulsed. Muscles grown in labs. Bones reinforced with dark alloys. Heart stolen from a dying warrior. DNA taken from a blood sample retrieved after Sarah's first battle. Yes, they had made it from her, a clone, but not just a copy, a weapon. Project Mirage is ready, one whispered. It thinks like her, fights like her, but obeys us. Birth of the mirror. The tank drained. The creature gasped. Its body glowed faint. Blue. It looked at the scientist and didn't speak, but its mind was full of commands. Destroy the beasts. Destroy Sarah. Do not question. It was faster. Stronger. But it lacked one thing. Sarah had choice. The clone lands. The sky tore open above planet B69. A ship with no ID, no windows. Just speed. It dropped something silent. Not a bomb, not a pod, a person, or something close to one. When it landed, the earth didn't crack. It was quiet. Sarah stood immediately. The apex beasts growled. They sensed something was wrong. It smelled like her. It moved like her. But it wasn't her. Face to face with herself. Clone stood in front of Serah. Same height. Same eyes. Same voice. Stand down, it said. Sarah tilted her head. You're me. No, it replied. I'm what you were supposed to be, controlled, useful. The apex beast snarled, but Sarah raised her hand. Let it speak. The battle of thought. Sarah stepped closer. You feel it, don't you? She asked. What? The voices of the beasts, their pain, their memories. The clone's eye twitched. It looked at the nearest apex and blinked fast. I see something, it said. For a moment, its body shook. Conflict. Pain. Then it whispered, no, I must complete the mission. The fight begins. The clone moved fast. 2, Fast. It kicked the water beast across a cliff, dodged a swipe from the flying apex, punched Sarah hard in the chest, sending her flying into a rock wall. Wreath screamed over the radio, "Get out of there!" But Sarah stood. Blood on her lip. Still calm. "I'm not fighting her," she said. "She's me." But broken. She doesn't fight back. The clone attacked again. A brutal spin kick, a shoulder slam. But Sarah kept dodging. Moving. Breathing. No punches back. No claws. No roar from her beasts. Just stillness. "Why won't you defend yourself?" The clone screamed. Sarah whispered, "Because I remember." The memory that broke the weapon. Sarah walked slowly, step by step, as the clone's hands shook. "I know what they did to you," she said. "I remember the white lights, the cold table, the injections, the questions." The clone dropped to one knee. "Stop talking. They gave you no name. Only numbers, no choices, just commands." The clone screamed, "I'm not weak like you." But her voice cracked. Beasts approached one by one. The apex beasts circled the clone. Not to kill. To watch. They could smell the pain, the fear, the truth. The flying beast lowered its wings around the clone like a blanket. The water beast whined softly. The clone didn't move. It just sat still and cried. For the first time in its life, Sarah gives the final choice. Sarah stood in front of her mirror. She didn't smile. She didn't speak with pride. Just truth. "You can come with us, or you can keep being their tool." The clone looked up. Whispered, "I don't know who I am." Sarah offered her hand. "Then let's find out together." The council watches in silence on every screen, in every ship, across every moon. Galaxy watched the impossible again. Sarah did not destroy the council's greatest weapon. She saved it. She took it with her. And it followed, like a lost child who finally found its home. The final blow to control. Now 5 stood together. Serah. 4 beasts. In one clone. But the council's grip on the galaxy? It shook. Because no matter what they created, they could never break one thing: hope. Inside the High Council Hall, 12 alien leaders argued. Screens showed Sarah and her 5 companions standing together. 1 clone, 4 apex beasts. 1 human. Igroth, the prime strategist, slammed his fist. "She makes fools of us. The galaxy watches her, not us." Another elder replied softly, "She hasn't attacked. She doesn't need to," Igroth growled. "Her silence is louder than war." One last vote was taken. Unleash everything. Fleet of the fallen. Thousands of ships launched. Black armored. Drones filled the sky. War machines from 20 races powered up. They weren't coming for one city. They were coming to wipe the planet clean. They wanted Sarah erased, not for safety, but for shame. She had made the galaxy question who the real monsters were. The message goes out. Wreath, still hiding in orbit, broke all encryption codes. He sent a signal to every world, every station, every soldier. She stands with the forgotten. She fights without hate. If you believe in freedom, you must stand now before they erase her from history. Planets begin to rise one by one. Lights blinked on across the galaxy. Miners stopped digging. Slaves stopped running. Soldiers removed helmets and refused orders. On 23 planets, council banners were burned. On 4 moons, warships turned around. And on B69. Sarah looked up as the fleet approached. She closed her eyes. The beasts beside her growled. The clone gripped her own hands. "Nervous? Are we going to die?" The clone asked. Sarah smiled calmly. "No, they are. The weapon she never used." Sarah walked to the center of the canyon. She knelt and pressed her palm to the ground. Whispers left her mouth. Old words. Not human. The beasts around her listened in silence. Then the ground lit up. Ancient lines of energy. Old signals, buried long ago by the ones who created the beasts. Planet defense wakes. Sound like thunder echoed from the mountains. Old cannons Hidden in cliffs powered on laser pillars from deep caves began to glow, and satellites that had slept for centuries opened their eyes. The planet itself had been built for war, but no one had known how to awaken it. Until now, only Sarah had the connection. The fleet breaks apart as Council warships entered orbit. The first satellite fired, a pulse-pure light cut. Through 4 destroyers, canyon guns took out drones by the thousands. Beasts launched into the sky, ripping ships open with claws and teeth. The clone ran across cliffs, slicing armored mechs with perfect strikes. But Sarah? She stood still in the center of it all, watching, guiding, never raising a single weapon. Council's final order fails. Igroth watched from his ship in shock. His voice broke as he yelled, "Retreat! Pull back!" But it was too late. Half the fleet had turned against him. Others had been destroyed by the planet's forgotten systems. He screamed at his commanders. This was supposed to be a message. And it was, but not the one he wanted. One ship lands with white flags. A Council dropship descended, unarmed. One elder stepped out grumbling. He looked at Sarah and bowed his head. "We have lost everything. Our power, our fear, our lies. What do you want from us?" Sarah stepped forward. Her voice was calm, firm, unshaking. "I don't want revenge. I want truth. The beasts will no longer be hunted. The planets you stole will be returned. The ones you silenced will now speak. If you agree, you live." The galaxy votes. Every screen in the galaxy showed that moment. A single human girl, unarmed, surrounded by monsters once feared, and an empire surrendering. One by one, planets voted to remove the Council seat of power. Not with war, but with unity. A new alliance began, not ruled by fear, but by memory. By those who remembered what silence cost. Her final walk. Days later, Sarah walked through the canyon alone. The clone, now her sister in purpose, led the beasts to their new sanctuary. Reith's voice came over the old radio. "They want you to lead." Sarah smiled. "No, why not? I never led them." She looked to the sky. They followed themselves. I just listened. The last scene, some say Sarah vanished into the forests after that. Some say she walks among the stars. Others believe she died quietly, with no ceremony. But one thing is sure, the beasts were never feared again. The truth was never silenced again, and no one ever forgot the girl who stood still while empires fell. *The end.